On the final night of the Buddha, something extraordinary overtook the forest of Kushinagar. The air did not simply grow quiet. It froze in a mystical expectancy. The slar trees stood so still that even their leaves seemed afraid to whisper. The vine that usually wandered freely through the branches moved like a respectful guest, tiptoeing around a presence it knew was sacred. It wasn't the silence of death. It was the silence of the universe preparing to witness the departure of one who had walked beyond life long before the body stopped breathing. A silence so alive that even the stars dimmed their shimmer, as if bowing. Around him, the disciples gathered. Some had spent half their lives walking beside him, from dusty villages to deep forests, from noisy marketplaces to silent caves where even echoes did not linger. Their faces carried the marks of discipline, surrender, and long companionship. Others were young, newly initiated, still carrying the faint fragrance of the world they had left behind. A trace of ambition, a whisper of old longing. Different in age, different in experience, yet united in a single trembling truth. The master who had been the sun to their inner night was preparing to leave the body. Buddha lay on his right side under the slar trees, his hand gently supporting his head, like a traveler resting after a long journey. But this rest was not ordinary. There was no fatigue, no fear, no struggle. His breath moved like a calm river that had already merged with the ocean, smooth, effortless, already beyond. He had crossed the inner shore long ago. Now he simply waited for the last ripple of the body to settle. He opened his eyes slowly and allowed them to rest on the assembly. Those who received his gaze felt as if he saw not only their faces, but the deepest possibility hidden within their being. In a soft voice, he said, "If any of you still carries doubt, if any question remains unasked, if anything is unclear on the path, ask now. Soon, this body will not be available." Silence, not the silence of clarity, but the silence of fear. Who would dare disturb the final moments of an awakened one? Who would risk asking a question unworthy of the moment? He repeated the invitation. Silence again. A third time, still silence. And then, from the farthest edge of the circle, an old monk slowly rose. He was fragile, like a flame struggling to stay alive in the wind. His steps were hesitant, unsure, as if each one asked permission from existence before landing. He had been with the Buddha for many years, practicing faithfully, listening attentively, meditating daily. Yet some inner door had never fully opened for him. He approached, bowed so deeply that his forehead touched the earth, and said, with a trembling voice, "Bhagwan, I have one last question, and it burns within me even more because it is the last." Buddha looked at him with eyes softer than moonlight. "Ask, my friend." The old monk's voice cracked as he spoke. "Master, when you leave, what remains? Your words, your teachings, your presence. If all of this fades with your departure, what will we hold on to? Without you, how will I take even a single step on this vast, uncertain path?" Buddha smiled. A smile with the innocence of a child, the depth of an ocean, and the detachment of a drifting cloud. "You ask what will remain. Nothing that you cling to. The words will remain, but they are only shadows. The teachings will remain, but they are only signs on the road. My presence will dissolve like fragrance when the flower is gone. Nothing remains except the space in which you must discover yourself." The monk trembled, tears gathering in his eyes. "Master, I am weak. I still depend on your guidance. Without your hand on my back, I feel lost. If you disappear, what becomes of me?" Buddha closed his eyes briefly, as if listening to the deepest pulse of existence, Anand said, "You believe you need me because you have never truly met yourself. A master is a mirror. Once you see your own face, the mirror is no longer needed." The old monk began to weep, not from sorrow, but because those words touched a forgotten place inside him, a place he had never dared to open. Buddha continued, "The more you depend on me, the further you move from your own center. The more you worship me, the more you betray your true potential. Do not carry me as an idol in your mind. Carry awareness that alone is the path." The monk whispered, "Then, is this your final teaching?" Buddha replied, "No, this is not a teaching. Teachings belong to the mind. This is a transmission for your being. When this body disappears, the real Buddha can be born within you if you allow it." The forest seemed to deepen its silence. Even the insects paused. The disciples closest to him felt as if the words were not coming from a human throat, but rising directly from the heart of existence. The monk wiped his tears and asked, "Master, what is the final truth I should remember when you are gone?" Buddha said, "Remember, everything is impermanent. Your joys, your sorrows, your meditations, your insights, even the states of bliss, everything arises and dissolves. Do not cling to anything, not even to enlightenment." The monk looked shocked. "Not even enlightenment?" Buddha laughed softly, a laugh of compassion, clarity, and mischief. "Clinging to enlightenment is the final illusion. When even that drops, only freedom remains." The monk bowed deeply. "Master, what becomes of you after death?" Buddha's eyes were almost transparent now, as if the world behind them was slowly dissolving. A flame appears as long as fuel is provided. When the fuel ends, the flame does not go anywhere. It simply ceases to appear. What you call death is merely the disappearance of appearance. The real was never born and can never die. The monk then asked the most intimate question of all, "Master, will I ever see you again?" Buddha looked into him, beyond the monk's mind, into the very center of his being, and said, "You will see me the day you disappear. When the I is no more, the Buddha is everywhere." The monk collapsed in tears, not from grief but from a surge of joy, as if a long-closed door had finally opened. The disciples felt something changing in the air. The forest became lighter, the sky brighter, as if existence itself had bowed in reverence. Then Buddha spoke his final words, not to the monk alone, not to the assembly, but to every seeker of every era, "Be a light unto yourself. Do not lean on me or on any tradition. Let truth be your refuge and awareness your lamp. Everything that is born is subject to vanish. Strive on with diligence." He lay back again, not like a dying man, but like someone slipping into a deep, restful meditation. His breath became softer. The spaces between breaths grew wider. And then there was only silence. But the silence was not empty. It was full, overflowing, alive. It was the silence of one who had lived with total awareness and died with total awareness. The kind of silence that becomes a fragrance for centuries. The monks did not feel grief. They felt something else, something indescribable, as if the Buddha had not left, but had dissolved into everything, into the leaves, into the sky, into the heartbeat of existence itself. And in that moment, the old monk who had asked the last question felt a flame awaken inside him. A recognition, an understanding. He realized the Buddha had not answered his question. The Buddha had answered him, and the answer would echo across time. When the master disappears, become the light.